boxing family, and welcome back to another video where I get to cover another great request from Trade Titan. I do thank you for your request and for your participation in the channel. And I'm going to make it my mission to fulfill or get to the other requests that I haven't gotten to yet sooner than later. So I do thank you for your patience with that. I do ask for your help with getting the likes up and getting the subscriptions up so I can take this channel to the next level. I have a lot of great ideas and a lot of great things in store that I think you all will be pleased with. So just asking for your help with that. So the fight that Trey requested is Riddick Big Daddy Bowe versus Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Interesting fight at heavyweight, in my opinion, regardless of people's opinions of Deontay Wilder or Riddick Bowe. Deontay Wilder can hit, he does have power, he is tall, he is dangerous, and I don't care who Deontay Wilder is fighting. He always has a puncher's chance. He could be losing the fight to the very last minute and land the right-hand eraser in that very last minute. So that's a factor, or that's something we always have to factor into Deontay Wilder's fights. Riddick Big Daddy Bowe only has one debatable loss against Evander Holyfield in their second meeting. So that says a lot about Riddick Bowe. Of course, we can talk about the inconsistencies in his career, but I truly don't think that affects his legacy whatsoever. He could have been better, but he truly accomplished great things in there. And when Riddick Bowe was on top of his game, I'm talking about Holyfield versus Bowe, part 1, the first fight. Riddick Bowe was a monster. His punches were sharp, they were short, that jab was working. He had pinpoint accuracy, he was tough, had a great chin. So I'll say when Riddick Bowe was in shape, watch out, watch out. You were in for a fight and you were in for a long night. And Deontay Wilder would definitely be in for the fight of his life against Riddick Big Daddy Bowe. Now, I did say that Deontay Wilder always has a puncher's chance, but he may not get Bowe the first time he hits him clean, as he has other opponents. He very well could if he lands the punch just right and clean enough. But Riddick Big Daddy Bowe may have a toughness that Deontay Wilder hasn't faced before. I'll continue to say that Deontay Wilder's right hand is always a factor, no matter what. But I suspect that Riddick Bowe may be able to withstand some of the power, possibly. If the fight goes to the cards, I definitely have Riddick Bowe winning. Now, I rarely say this when it comes to Deontay Wilder. Well, we know he's been stopped by Tyson Fury, so he can be stopped. And Riddick Bowe has a great chance at stopping Wilder. He really does. Riddick Bowe has to be careful. He has to be mindful of that right hand, or maybe not, I don't know. He is Riddick Bowe. He's one of the toughest fighters I've seen in the history of boxing. But that right hand from Deontay Wilder, that power, I can say it over and over again. You get the point. So who wins this? Let's get to that. Who wins this fight? Now, if Riddick Bowe, like I said, if Riddick Bowe shows up in tip-top condition, then I'm going to say that he takes it. He either wins a decision against Wilder, or he either stops Wilder late. But if Riddick Bowe doesn't come in shape, if he doesn't come focused, then chances are Deontay Wilder will catch him like he does everybody else, with the exception of Tyson Fury, of course. So a lot of factors are going into this fight, but let's just say that both fighters comes into this fight at the top of their game, at their best. And when I'm doing these fantasy fights, I always like to take both fighters at their best to see who wins. That always makes for a better fight when both fighters are at the top of their games, and when they're at their best. So I'm going to say, considering both fighters coming in at their best, Riddick Bowe just had so much toughness and grit. He had a lot of dimensions to his game, for lack of a better term. He could punch, he could take a punch, he could take it as well as dish it out. Deontay Wilder always has that right-hand eraser. But at the same time, this is Riddick Big Daddy Bowe we're talking about. The Riddick Bowe that was in a trilogy with the very tough and game Evander Holyfield. Riddick Bowe fought in a tougher era, of course, but sometimes the stylistic matchups, the era doesn't matter. And a lot of times I don't consider that. I don't consider nostalgia. I don't automatically assume that the past fighters are better than the current fighters. But this is one of those times I have to make an exception. I'm breaking my own rule here, because Riddick Bowe was a different kind of beast. He really was. So this is uncharacteristic of me, but I have to be honest. I'm going to go with Big Daddy Riddick Bowe by late stoppage. That's my prediction. Let me know what you think. Not Jared Hurd, not my boy Hurd. Now, I have to be honest, I did not see the fight, but I heard about the fight. And I was one of the fans pulling for Hurd. I was a big fan of his. Now, he's been criticized for lack of defense, getting hit too much, and that can take its toll, so I never wish harm upon any human being, especially a fighter. But he was one of the most entertaining fighters to watch. I loved his style. I loved how he wore his opponents down and beat them up down the stretch. I loved his stamina, and I loved how awkward he was. Yes, the lack of defense is a legitimate concern, but being a fan, I just hated to hear how he went out last night. And as a fan of a fighter, now I'm usually loyal to the fighters that I'm a fan of, and I'm still a fan. I'm an incurable optimist when it comes to certain fighters, although there may be signs that it's time to hang them up. And it's probably time for Hurd, but at the same time, I'm always careful about counting people out. Most of us counted Vladimir Klitschko out right after he lost to Layman Brewster, but he went on to have another successful career after Brewster. And that's just one of many examples. But as far as Hurd goes, I had big hopes for him, and part of me still does. You just never know. None of us can predict the future, but I just hated to see him go out like that. I wish he would have remained more active. That may have made a difference. I really wish we would have gotten to see Jared Hurd fight Jermell Charlo. That's the fight I really wanted. Jared Hurd should have fought more big names. I wanted to see him in there with more big names. But Julian Williams derailed him. That loss to Julian Williams changed the course of his career. Not for the good, but for the bad. And unfortunately, the best fighters never bounce back from a loss. Not everyone can handle a loss. It happened to Zab Judah. It happened to Adrian Broner. Not that they didn't have good careers and accomplished great things, but it could have been so much better for them. And Jared Hurd was one of those fighters that I had hopes for, because he was an action fighter. So I thought that he was the next action superstar. But unfortunately, these things happen in life. I wish him the best, and I hope to see him back at some point. That's just me. Let me know what your thoughts are.